It should come as no surprise to my friends and viewers that trading card games have always had a very special place in my heart. In this series, both Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. Every week we will add an additional core set to our collections, moving in chronological order. We will use these cards to create a deck and then face off against one another in a best 2 out of 3 match, with the winner receiving 2 prizes to upgrade their deck, while the loser receives 1. These prizes can range from wildcards, to sealed product, to starter decks, and more. Every card that has been released will be available to us at least once. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to banish into the Shadow Realm, and even the way the very rules of the game will change, will keep our decks and our duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Okay, so last episode didn't exactly go as planned, but that's not too bad. So we're still 3-3, that's something we can still get over. But we're on to the next set, which is Pharaonic Guardian, which was released in July of 2003. This set is well known for introducing 2 specific types of cards. The first are what players affectionately refer to as Pac-Man, in that cards like Swarm of Scarabs, Swarm of Locusts, and Deslocuta have the effect of flipping themselves back face down, and then flipping themselves when they're flip summoned, getting certain effects. Swarm of Scarabs destroys a monster your opponent controls, Swarm of Locusts destroys a spell or trap card they control, and Deslocuta lets you draw a card. So, anyone who knows the bullshit of Pac-Man knows that this can be something to really worry about later. Especially in this set, depending on what Rai pulls. The other thing is that this set introduced the Gravekeeper archetype, one of the first actual archetypes introduced into the game. And these are actually a really good archetype, so if we could pull a few of these, that's going to be really nice. So let's go through a few of the key cards in the rarities here. Starting with the commons, we have, as I had mentioned, Swarm of Scarabs, Locusts, and Deslocuta. Each of these, if we could pull a few of these, that'll be very helpful. I don't know if we necessarily have the support to build a stun deck with these, however, they can be useful for later on anyway. So, looking down here, we actually have a couple of useful trap cards. Bottomless Shifting Sand is actually an interesting one, in that it destroys, at the end of your opponent's turn, it'll destroy a face-up monster or monsters with the highest attack on the field. But during your own standby phase, if you don't have 5 or more cards in hand, this card gets destroyed. So this can actually be a nice little bit of removal, but it does rely on your opponent having stronger monsters than you. Trap Dust Shoot is actually a really good card, and a card that is still banned to this day. You can activate it when your opponent has 4 or more cards in their hand. You get to look at your opponent's hand, select a monster in it, and send it back into their deck. This card is really good. However, this might be something that we only have in the side deck, because if you're not going first, this card is kind of a bad one to end up with, especially later in the game. Scrolling through, we have a few basic cards here. Master Kianshi, Kabazals are pretty good vanilla beaters. And then we get into the Gravekeepers. Gravekeeper Spy is one of the best Gravekeepers here. If it gets flipped face up, you get to summon a Gravekeeper from your deck with up to 1500 attack. Gravekeeper Spy notably has 1200 attack. As a result of that, you can actually flip Spy and summon another Spy. Very useful for that. 2k Defender means that it can tank a few hits. Gravekeeper's Guard is a really good card in here, in terms of the Gravekeepers, because when it's flipped face up, you get to bounce them in a monster for your opponent controls to their hand. And with a 1900 butt, it's going to be very hard for them to beat over. Gravekeeper Spear Soldier is actually a pretty good card as well. It gives piercing damage to itself, so if your opponent's running a bunch of low defense monsters, then Spear Soldier can potentially get some damage in, which can be nice. And if Rai's running Pac-Man, then that actually can be useful for us. Yomi Ship is actually a pretty decent little bit of removal, in that if it's destroyed in battle and sent to the graveyard, the monster that destroyed this card gets annihilated as well. So it's a little less reliable, but it can at least deal with what manages to get over it. Then scrolling down here, Reasoning is a really good card. It is a bit of a gamble, but it's actually a really strong card if it goes off. You pick your opponent picks a level from 1 to 12, and then you excavate cards from the top of your deck until you hit a monster that can, I believe that it can be normal summoned, or can be special summoned. Let me see. Here we go. That can be normal summoned or set, and then if the monster is the same level, all of the excavated cards go to the graveyard. If not, the monster gets summoned to the field, and then the rest of the cards go to the grave as well. So this can be a good card for milling your deck out a bit, as well as getting a potentially high-level monster on the field if your opponent's not expecting it. Different Dimension Capsule is a pretty good card. You get to pick one card in your deck, banish it face down, and then in 2 turns, you get the card to your hand. The only downside is the capsule stays on your side of the field, and if it gets destroyed before your 2 turns are up, you don't get that card back. And given the fact that Rai has Harpy's Feather Duster, that can be a bit of a concern for us. Terraforming is a really good general spell card. It lets you search your deck for a field spell and add it to your hand. Basically, it's a good way to thin your deck a little bit. Metamorphosis is a really big card that we're going to want to see at least 1 copy of. It lets you tribute a monster you control, and then you can summon a monster from your fusion deck or extra deck that has the same level. So this is basically something that if we had... This is one of the cards that is still banned to this day, because it is well known for, in the GOAT format, summoning Thousand Eyes Restrict using a sheep token. Unfortunately for us, Rai has the sheep tokens because he has Scapegoat, so we don't actually get access to that right now. And as far as I'm aware, neither of us have Thousand Eyes Restrict. If it turns out he pulled one, or he got a wild card of one, then we might be in some trouble. And then scrolling through here, Raigeki Break is a really good trap card we're going to want to get at least 1 copy of, hopefully 3. You discard a card from your hand, and then target a card on the field and destroy it. We have Sinister Serpent now, so we actually have we can have a steady stream of cards to discard because of that. Rite of Spirit is actually a really good trap card. You get to activate, if you activate this card, you can target a Gravekeeper in your graveyard, special summon it, and it cannot be negated by Necro Valley. So basically, it's Gravekeeper Monster Reborn. Non-Aggression Area is an interesting card as well. You can activate it during your turn, during your spot phase, and discard a card from your hand. If you do that, your opponent cannot normal summon, set, or special summon at all during their next turn. It's a good way to stop your opponent if they have nothing on the field. So we're going to scroll up a little bit here to look at the short print cards, and really none of them are specifically good. Book of Taiyu is kind of neat if we want to force a Cyberjar, but not really amazing. Dark Dust Spirit is actually kind of decent because it destroys all face-up monsters on the field except itself when it's summoned. But it is a level 6 spirit monster, so it is kind of iffy in that regard. Going up to the rares, King Tiger Wanghu is actually an interesting card. As long as it's faced on the field, any monster that's summoned to the field with 1400 or less attack gets destroyed automatically. So this can actually shut down Pac-Man pretty nicely. Pyramid Turtle is a good monster to look for. If it's destroyed in battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a zombie with 2000 defense or less from your deck. This is a really good recruiter for later. Book of Moon is probably one of the best cards in terms of rares that we're really going to want to see. It lets you target a monster, your opponent, one monster on the field that's face up, flip it face down defense. This is basically a battle trap when you don't have battle traps, and it's a very useful way to disrupt your opponent's plays. Dark Geroid is also an interesting card. When it's summoned, you get to pick a monster on the field. It loses 800 attack. It's a good way to beat over a problematic monster. And Spirit Reaper is a monster we want to see a few copies of, preferably. It can't be destroyed in battle, and if it inflicts damage to the opponent's life points from a direct attack, you can discard a random card in their hand. However, the problem with this card is if a card effect targets this card and resolves, this card gets destroyed immediately after that resolution. So if Rai has an equip spell, he could just toss it onto Spirit Reaper and destroy it. Going into the super rares, Book of Life is a pretty good one if you're running a zombie type deck, which we don't have a lot of zombie cards right now, but it can be useful in the future. Mirage of Nightmare is actually a pretty nice card too. During your opponent's standby phase, you draw until you're holding 4 cards in your hand, and then during your next standby phase, if you use this effect, then you randomly discard the same number of cards you drew. However, if you have something like Emergency Provisions or MST, you could actually destroy this card and keep your hand, which is really good. Necro Valley is probably the next big one we want to see, especially if we want to run a Gravekeeper deck. Now, I will preface this right away by saying that Raikourider and I discussed this, and because of how the erratas worked, we're actually going to just basically play this card as Konami quote-unquote intended. So we're going to use the most recent errata for this, which basically saying, like, most of the effects were the same the whole time. Gravekeepers gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard can't be banished. Now here's the key one though. Any card effect that would move a card in the graveyard to a different place, or change its types and attributes in the graveyard, get negated. The reason we're mentioning this is because previously, cards that could special summon themselves from the graveyard could activate, such as Glow-Bulb. However, they did errata this later because they didn't intend that kind of thing to actually work. So as a result of that, anything that can bring itself back from the graveyard or something else from the graveyard cannot work while under Necro Valley. But it's a really strong card, and if we build a good Gravekeeper core and hit a Necro Valley, that can be really powerful. Going down into the ultra rares, there's actually not very many here that are great. Dons and Luke is probably one of the better ones because if it deals damage to your opponent's life points, then you could either mill 2 cards off of their deck or discard a card from their hand. Let's be real, it's going to be the Robin Goblin effect more often than not. Helpowemmer is actually a card I kind of enjoy. It's kind of gimmicky, but it's fun. It can't be special summoned from the graveyard, and if it's destroyed if it was destroyed by battle and it's in your graveyard, then at the end of your opponent's battle phase each turn, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. However, if it leaves the graveyard for any reason, that effect fizzles. But it's a really good card. If for a level 5 with 2000 attack, it's not a bad stat line. And then Question is a card I really enjoy as a concept, but honestly, I feel like Rai is probably too smart for this one. When you activate it, your opponent can't check any cards in the graveyards, and then your opponent has to guess the name of the first monster that is at the bottom of your graveyard. If they get it right, the monster is banished, and if they get it wrong, you special summon that monster. So, if Rai is paying attention to the game, which he generally will be, this card is probably not going to be very useful. But, if we could slip a monster into the graveyard without him realizing it, usually through like a card effect or discard or something like that, we might actually be able to get a summon off on him. Probably one of the better cards in this group as well. You get to target a monster your opponent controls. That monster cannot attack or change its battle position. And then, once per turn during your standby phase, your opponent takes 500 damage. But only if that monster is still on the field. So it's basically like Circle, but slightly better. And then scrolling up into the secret rares, and we actually have 2 really good ones here. Ring of Destruction, we're again playing by pre-errata for this. Target a monster on the field, destroy it, both players take damage equal to the original attack of that monster. And then Lava Golem, basically Lava Golem was the original Kaiju, if you will. Because you could summon it to your opponent's field by attributing 2 of their monsters. You can't normal summon the turn you play this card. And then during your once per turn, during your standby phase, you take 1,000 damage. So if I could get this, I could potentially break Rai's board, and because of a lot of the stun cards that are around, Rai can end up taking a lot of damage because of that. So we're gonna see what we can do there. But before we get into the pack opening, we have to talk about the July 2003 list. This list actually came into effect about 10 days before Pharaonic Guardian dropped, and for the most part, it actually doesn't change too much. Basically, what it does is it limits and semi-limits a few cards from the previous set. So Exile Force goes to 1, we only had 1 anyway. Twin-Headed Behemoth gets limited to 1, and basically stays limited for a very long time. This is actually going to impact Rai pretty heavily. And from what I can tell, it looks like the rest of the cards don't really actually affect us for now. So that's pretty good. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the card pulls. And hopefully we can pull something good. Alright, so 24 packs of Pharaonic Guardian. Let's flip up the first pack and see what we can hit. And right off the bat, we actually have a really good pack here. We have ourselves Bottomless Shifting Sand, could be decent removal to work with. Terraforming is nice. Terraforming actually doesn't get limited for a very long time, so if we could hit 3 of that'll be very nice. Dark Dust Spirit's pretty good. Our first Gravekeeper Spy, which is good. We really want to see 3 of that. Hopefully we could see... This is actually a pretty good start for us. Okay, second pack in, and we actually have some pretty decent cards here. Rite of Spirit is going to be really useful for us if we end up running Gravekeepers. Different Dimension Capsule is going to be pretty nice. Newdoria is actually a pretty good rare. If it's destroyed in battle, you could target a monster on the field and destroy it. So this is actually effectively Maneater Bug. And then we have 8-Claw Scorpion, which actually is kind of an interesting card. You could flip this card face down once per turn into defense mode, and while it's face up and attacks an opponent's monster, if that monster is face down defense mode, this card's attack becomes 2400 during that damage calculation. So basically, if this thing is basically a good way to get around Pac-Man in general, because you could attack with this instead of under Messenger of Peace and Gravity Bind, and you could hit with 2400 attack. So you could hit over Gravekeeper Spy, you could hit over the Guard, you could hit over pretty much any other Pac-Man piece. This is actually a very interesting card, and it might be a nice little tech for us. Okay, so we hit our first holo in the third pack. Gravekeeper Sheaf is actually a pretty interesting card, and a pretty good card for the Gravekeeper deck. As long as it's face up on the field, your graveyard is actually unaffected by Necro Valley, which is pretty nice, and when it's tribute summoned, you could target a Gravekeeper in your graveyard and special summon it. The only downside is you can only control one Chief at a time. But, still a decent card overall. Also, we hit a Swarm of Locusts, which is pretty good. And that's about it in this regard, but still, that's a really good holo to hit. Like, hopefully we could hit a couple Necro Valley or 2. Holy shit. Okay, this is a pack. So we hit a second Gravekeeper Spy, which is really, really good. And we hit Ring of Destruction. This is amazing. We've really had some really interesting secret rare luck lately. But this is a good card. So this is going to be some nice little removal. The only negative to it is that we're going to be taking damage to our life points. But even still, if it means getting out an opponent's monster, like if Rai summons something we just cannot beat over, this is a good way to deal with it. Okay, 5 packs in, and we already got our playset of Spy. That's actually really nice. Also, we hit a Deslakuta, which is really good. This card is going to be munch on noobs all day long, and it's really nice. Also, we hit Dark Coffin too, which is really sweet. This is actually a trap, essentially. And what I mean by that is, you set this card face down in the hopes that your opponent expects it to be something like a battle trap, and works to pop it. Because if they destroy this card while it's face down, they either have to discard a card from their hand at random, or they have to target a monster that they control and destroy it. Both of those effects are really, really bad for him, So if Rai accidentally destroys this with Feather Duster, he's going to be punished, and heavily. The hits just keep coming, it seems. Second Newdoria, which is really good. A Raigeki Break, which we really want to see a few more of them. That's a really good card. Royal Tribute's actually kind of interesting. If Necro Valley is on the field and you play this, both players have to discard all monsters in their hands. If you play this early enough, and your opponent loses a bunch of cards in their hand, that might be something they just can't get back from. And we hit a Book of Life, too, which is really nice. So if we play a zombie-themed deck later down the road, this can really help us out down with that situation. It lets us revive a zombie from our graveyard and banish a monster in the opponent's graveyard, which could be pretty good. This is one of those sets that really just shows how good things can be. The fact that we've gone through pretty much all 7 packs so far with something notable to talk about is nice. We hit a Gravekeeper's Guard. If we could hit at least one more of these, I'm going to be very happy. And Dark Geroid's going to be good for basically targeting removal, essentially. Okay, so we hit Reasoning. That's pretty good. And we hit a Pyramid Turtle. That could be really good. Again, for zombies later down the line, that could be very helpful for us. Maiden of the Aqua is a pretty good 2K defender too. As long as it's face up on the field, it's treated as though Yumi is on the field. That being said, I don't feel like it's necessarily worth using unless we absolutely need to. First Book of Moon, very happy to see that. If we could see a couple more of that, that's going to be really good for us. Okay, halfway through, and we hit another holo, Barrel Behind the Door. That's actually a pretty good card. If Rai plays a card effect that deals effect damage to me, this card will bounce that effect damage back to him. We hit a Reckless, which is pretty nice, and we hit a second Swarm of Locusts and a second Terraforming. So overall, very solid pack here. Okay, so second Death Lakuta, another Yomi ship, which is pretty nice. That rounds out our playset of Royal Tribute. And a Dark Designator, that's actually an interesting little card. You get to pick a card, a monster name, and if your opponent has it in their deck, they actually add a copy of it to their hand. Now, while that is technically considered a -2 if you successfully get the effect off, if you're running something like Robin Goblin, something like White Magical Hat, something that gets rid of cards in their hand, this can be a good way to get rid of an important monster before he even has a chance to use it. That being said, he does have Revival, so it is a scary thought to keep that in mind. Second Book of Moon. Yes, that is great. That is really, really good. And that rounds out our Yomi ship playset as well. And we also get a copy of Swarm of Scarabs. We really needed at least one of them. So, really good pack. Second Raigeki Break. Good. If we have 7 packs left, can we please pull a third one? Please. Dude, this is a goddamn joke, right? This is a joke, right? 2 Ring of Destruction. Oh my god. This is gonna be a really fucking crazy pack opening. This is for sure. Man, Rai is gonna shit a brick when he sees that. That's our 5th Gravekeeper Spy, too. I'm really hoping we could at least see one more guard, because we still only have one of that. Alright, there's our second Gravekeeper Spirit Soldier. That's pretty nice. And our first copy of Metamorphosis. Thank God we at least hit one. Wait a minute. Metamorphosis is a $10 common? Unlimited at that? God damn, I need to look through my... Wow, I really need to look through my shoebox of cards later. I'm pretty sure I have a few of those in paper. Damn, I need to cash out. Okay, last pack. We've still only got 1 guard. Can we please see a second guard? Please? And never lucky on that one. But you know what? That's still not bad. We hit really good on this. I mean, 2 secret rares. Like, seriously, 2 Ring of Destruction, a Gravekeeper's Chief, a Book of Life, and a Barrel Behind the Door. That's pretty good. So let's go into deck building and see what we can do. Okay, so here's our deck for this match. Yeah, I honestly didn't think I was going to be running back water, But, yeah, scrolling through, when I was looking through everything I had, turns out I didn't exactly have enough to really work with for what I was hoping for. I don't have enough to really build zombies at the moment. I don't really have enough to build a good Gravekeeper deck. I mean, we have a decent number of Gravekeeper cards, but not enough to build a cohesive deck for it. Especially because we don't have Necro Valley too. That's kind of hurting that in general. And I kind of feel like maybe if we don't have a good way to rely on the Gravekeepers right now, then we can hold those in our back pocket for later when we end up needing them. And, yeah, turns out I didn't pull a single copy of Trap Dust Shoot, which is a common. I did not pull a single copy of Spirit Reaper, which is a rare. Like, there were definitely a couple of key cards that absolutely did not work out like I thought they would have. But we have what we've got, and we're going to see what we can do. So let's go by the card by card. Starting off, we have 2 copies of Aqua Spirit. Once again, this thing has actually done pretty well for us in terms of switching Rise Monster and kind of disabling them for a turn. So we're going to keep with 2 to keep that going. We have our Cyber Jar because Jar is funny and it's been crazy lately. Exile Force is still here to help deal with any issues that we need that we can't just Oonga Boonga over. 2 Magician of Faith to pull back some of our key spell cards. We have the Sangan to search almost anything in our deck. Senju of the Thousand Hands is here to pick up Crab Turtle if we need to. Sinister Serpent's finally here, and this is primarily going to be used as tribute fodder, or discard fodder, rather. So we have cards that make us discard for cost. We have cards that make us discard as part of an effect. Serpent is there basically to keep getting thrown into the graveyard. 1 copy of Sonic Bird. Pretty much just search for the Turtle Oath. 1 copy of Witch of the Black Forest to search pretty much everything up except for Island Turtle and Crab Turtle. 3 7-color fish because we really need Oonga Boonga. 2 Island Turtle for defense against Oonga Boonga in return. 2 Crab Turtle because this is basically our boss monster at this point. For the spells, we have 2 Legendary Ocean to basically just give our monsters a little extra power. Unfortunately, they don't really do... The level adjustment doesn't really do anything to help us, but hey, we have that for later. 2 copies of Book of Moon. I am a little bit sad that we didn't pull 3 of these, but 2 is still really good, and this can help us out in a tight spot. 1 copy of Fisher, just for the sake of having removal. 1 copy of Graceful Charity, and oh my god, I am so happy that we've got this card. So what this card does is it's simple. It draws 3 cards, then we discard 2. Yes, we go hand neutral overall with it. However, if we have Sinister Serpent in hand, then it basically reads, draw 3 cards, discard 1. Because this card comes back the next turn. And given the fact that we have other cards that let us discard, this is a great combo. We have 1 Heavy Storm to help clear the back row if we need to. Pot of Greed. Having Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity in the same deck be legal is fucking insane. This is something that hasn't really been a thing in years. And even in GOAT, it's still... in GOAT, it's still limited. Both of these. So, it's very nice, but god, it's broken. 1 copy of Raigeki to help clear out the board. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being one of the cards Rai decides he wants to ban, but right now, we're going to take it while we have it. 2 copies of Rush Recklessly in case we really need to get over something important. 1 copy of Swords of Revealing Light to protect our butt if we need it. And 2 copies of Turtle Oath in order to get our boss monster out. For the traps, we have 3 Bottomless Trap Hole. Basically, as long as Rai is summoning his big guys, we can use this to banish them and get a certain problem out of the way. And since he's the one that already banned Jinzo, we don't even have to worry about him having something like that to stop us. 1 copy of Imperial Order. I don't think I've resolved this just yet, but honestly, this is still going to be an important card for some point. 1 copy of Magic Cylinder. I'm still upset that we don't have our second one, but hey, 1 copy is still really good. Now, if Rai doesn't end up attacking all that much in this match, we can always side this out. 2 copies of Raigeki Break. Again, it's a common, we only hit 2, but I'm okay with that. Discard a card, target a card on the field, and destroy it. Once again, with Sinister Serpent, it basically just reads as destroy a card on the field. And 1 copy of Robin Goblin, because if we could force the opponent to discard 2, that's even better. Our extra deck is just the same thing it says before. Side deck, 2 copies of 8 Claws Scorpion. This is specifically here, as well as King Tiger Wanghu, 2 copies, specifically in case Rai is on Pac-Man bullshit. Because Wanghu can stop his monsters from flip summoning, because they'd be destroyed, and 8 Claw Scorpion lets us beat over those monsters while getting under most of the floodgates. 2 copies of Zambera the Dark in case we absolutely need power, or in some cases, a monster on the field to act as an attack position wall. 1 copy of Cold Wave in case we end up needing this for a push. 1 copy of Metamorphosis. Now, I will be entirely honest. Even though we don't have Scapegoat, if I can get a wild card for Thousand Eyes Restrict, I'm taking it when I can. Because Metamorphosis can actually turn Sinister Serpent into Thousand Eyes and be really problematic for Rai. 2 Offerings to the Doomed in case we absolutely need more target removal. 2 copies of Fairy Box to help us in case Rai ends up attacking us, which, if he's attacking us, then that's going to be good to know. If he's not, if he's playing Pac-Man, these are staying in here. 2 copies of Ring of Destruction. I want to at least get an idea of what Rai's playing before we pop these in, but he is going to lose his mind when he sees this. And 1 copy of Solemn Wishes, because if we could get some extra life points, who knows, that might actually matter to us, because it mattered to us last time. So, with that being said, guys, we're ready to go. Wish us luck, it's time to duel.
Alright, Demon, 1 more duel before we take our first trip to the Hall of Eternity, where the format shall be reshapen by cards sent to the Shadow Realm. How you doing?
Doing good. Kind of happy with what I pulled. Admittedly, there were definitely a couple other things I could have been happy with, but we'll see what we can do with it. So
I was pretty happy with what I got too. So we'll see how this goes. Think I'd be on paper strats. Darn. Well, either way, I guess you will be taking the play.
Yep.
Good luck, duelist.
Good luck. Alright. Draw for turn. Standby main. Oof. This is going to be a hell of a start for me.
That's pretty good. Somebody has a Trinity draw, clearly.
How'd you know? I fire Graceful Charity.
Well, if you fire a Delinquent Duo...
I don't have that, thankfully.
I'm gonna say, if you fire a Delinquent Duo, just no.
I'll pitch my Island Turtle, and I kind of feel like maybe my Rush Recklessly here. And then
I mean, that card's not great on the play.
Yeah. Alright. I think I'm going to set a card, and then I'm going to set 1, 2, and 3.
3 back row, huh?
And pass it to you.
Alright, draw for turn, standby main. Well, you'll know what's up now.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to play bullshit.
Well, the question is, what level of bullshit is it? Go ahead.
Alright, draw. Standby main.
Heavy Storm? You're not gonna heavy... You wouldn't have set all those cards if you had Heavy Storm.
Let's see. Well, I guess I'm kind of safe to flip my Magician of Faith this turn.
Well, that's pretty good.
So we'll go ahead and get Pot of Greed back.
Of all those cards you're drawing, how about you favor and deck yourself?
Well, with any luck, I'll hit something beforehand. That's not what I wanted to see. Alright. I will set a card, and I will pass it over.
Alright, draw for turn, standby, main. I'm going to flip summon my Princess of Tsurugi. Please take 2,000 damage.
Yikes. Sure.
Big hit. Then I'm going to set another monster, and out of back row and pass the turn.
Alright, draw. Standby main. Ooh, there's a card.
I mean, if you want a heavy storm with 4 back row, go for it.
Right. Well, what can you have back there? Alright. I'm going to summon out my 7-colored fish.
Sure, you have a 7-colored fish.
I'm going to activate Raikourider. I will pitch this Turtle Oath and target your Vengeful Bog Spirit.
Sure.
Alright, so with that being the case, battle. Let's go and clear out your princess.
Let's actually Ring of Destruction the 7-colored fish.
Oh, you actually hit one.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I was very happy with my pulls. That's such a nice card. That good?
Yeah, that's good. Well, shit. Okay. Main phase 2. I will switch my Magician to defense. Then I will set a card and pass it over.
At the end of your turn, I'm going to activate Ominous Fortune Telling.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Card's good.
Alright.
Draw for turn, standby. I will say that this is a monster card.
That is my Legendary Ocean.
Okay, good to know you have that. Main. Munch Munch.
Oh, God.
Munch Munch, buddy.
Okay, let's fix that, because for whatever reason it just skipped to the end.
I don't know why, but whatever. Anyway, there's a Pure Advantage Camel ability as Chain Link 1.
I got no response to that.
Cool.
Waka 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 waka.
That's what it does. Go.
Alright, draw. Ooh, that's actually not bad.
Got the Geki.
Well, I actually had the Geki in hand for a little bit.
Well, you got some good ones.
Ooh, Scarabs too, okay. So I'm going to activate my Book of Moon to target my Magician.
That's so good. That is so good. That's disgusting, dude.
So I'm going to flip my Magician and get Pot of Greed for the 3rd time. So let's see what we can hit.
How about you deck yourself?
I was about to say, I would laugh if he actually manages to deck himself. There is such a thing as too much greed.
Alright, and now I'm going to banish my Island Turtle.
Oh, Aqua Spirit, yep.
Yep. Aqua Spirit here. And then... So, oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
Nope.
Let's go
No,
into
I'm
battle.
assuming you want to go to the fighty phase.
Yeah.
I'll take it all.
And attack declaration, Robin Goblin.
That is really bad.
So let's see who we hit. So that one.
This is a pretty good one.
Ooh, Spirit Reaper. And that one.
That is also a pretty good one.
Ooh. Main phase 2. I'm going to activate a Legendary Ocean. And I'm going to pass the turn.
Alright, draw for turn, standby. I gotta roll first, hang on. This is a monster card.
This is my Imperial Order.
Wow, never lucky.
That's actually why I activated ALL afterwards, just so that way I could have a better chance of you not hitting it right.
Alright, well, since you have a Robin Goblin up, I'm just gonna set my hand.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Let's see.
Demon, I have a question.
What's that?
Why didn't you play a Legendary Ocean before attacking? You could have gotten an extra 200 damage.
I could have, but it probably wouldn't. Honestly, the 200 wouldn't have made too much of a difference.
If this 200 makes a difference...
If it does.
I was about to say...
Oh.
I'm gonna laugh. Ryan's gonna hold on by like 100 life points and clutch this back.
Alright, so we'll hit.
Sure, I'll take 21. Or 8. I'll take 18. I don't know if you want to attack with the Faith also. But I'll let that go through.
Nah, I think I'm going to go ahead and switch off to defense. And then I'm going to set a monster and pass the turn.
Okay. Draw for turn, standby. This is a trap card.
That is my Heavy Storm.
You've had it the whole time, too. Lovely.
I mean, well, no, I pulled it after the last pot of greed. I just figure it's not worth losing my back row just yet, unless I absolutely need it.
So here is what we will do. I am going to pass.
Ooh, okay.
Odd.
I'm curious as to why you did that.
In response, I am going to chain Raigeki break.
Oh, okay.
And I will kill the Aqua Spirit.
Okay. Alright, in response, I'm going to chain Rush Recklessly, targeting my Magician of Faith.
That's pretty good. You probably have follow-up in hand. I have no further responses.
Neither do I.
Okay, so chain resolves. You got my Gravity Bind.
Ooh, I had a feeling you would have Gravity Bind. And then that goes. And then I will switch my Moth to attack. I will flip summon my Witch of the Black Forest.
Okay, this isn't lethal yet.
But it's 21.
It is.
And just to help with some shenanigans preventing, I'm going to activate Swords Revealing Light and set one card.
Yep.
Good luck.
That's not going to get there.
Well, the 200 didn't matter.
Alright, now that I know I'm going first, this changes things quite a bit. Alright, hopefully this game 2 goes a little bit better. I'll take the play.
Alright.
Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main. Alright, let's go ahead and just get this party started.
Oh, shit. Dark Snake Syndrome.
I'll activate Dark Snake Syndrome and set a monster. Go ahead.
I didn't mention that card, but okay. So
Yeah, that
phase
card
1.
is a win. It's a win condition.
It can be. Alright, so we're gonna start with Pot of Greed.
Greed again. Yup. I mean, that first duel, you activated Pot of Greed 3 times. There was no way I was coming back.
True. Okay. Let's see.
I mean, clearly you pull a Yugi and make him deck himself.
Alright, I think you might actually enjoy this card. I'm going to normal summon my 8 Claws Scorpion.
So
Yeah,
it's a
what now?
24 It's a 2400 attacker for set monsters?
Yep.
That's an interesting card. That's actually pretty good against this deck, not gonna lie.
This was a card that, as a kid, I always read it and thought to myself, this seemed really stupid. Why would you flip it face down, and what does it matter if you're going to ram into a small, like a defense monster? As I got older, I realized, oh, wait a minute. This basically tells Pac-Man to go fuck itself.
It does.
So, let's see what you
Nom.
got hit in there.
It can't die.
Oh.
Oh.
It cannot die.
Well, I was going to save this for later, but you know what? Fine. Let's rush recklessly in battle phase. Clear it out.
Yep, and then that will let you redeclare if you would like.
Actually, it does not, because my monster, because the attack still went through. But main phase 2.
That's right. After the attack is resolved.
Right. So I'm gonna set one card, and then I'm gonna activate the effect of my 8 Claw Scorpion and set itself into face down defense.
Sure.
Have fun.
All right. Draw for turn. Stand by. We each take 200.
The first bite has happened.
All right. Main. I'm gonna normal my Swarm of Scarabs.
Okay.
Go to the battle phase. I'll hit over your 200 defense Scorpion.
I'm gonna chain my Book of Moon to flip him down.
That's pretty good. Go.
Alright. Stand by main. So I'm going to flip summon my 8 Claw Scorpion.
Yep.
And I'm gonna run out a King Tiger Wanghu.
Oh.
That's really good.
My side deck was specifically made for the sake of dealing with Pac-Man. If that was what... Because I had a feeling you were going to run that out, and I wanted to make sure of it. So, Scorpion is going to go into your monster, and Wanghu will hit for 17.
I mean, if you're side decking for Pac-Man, then what can I do?
And Scorpion will flip to defense, and your move.
Yep. Anyway.
So.
Anyway, stand by. We both take 4.
Yep.
Main. I'm gonna Master Tiger.
Alright.
Then I'm gonna set a monster and pass. I should actually put 2 on this.
Stand by main. Ooh. Do I want to waste that now, or do I want to wait? Let's see, is it cannot attack? Okay, so well, I wouldn't want to switch it to defense anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna run out my Island Turtle.
Sure.
I will flip summon my 8 Claw Scorpion.
Sure.
Demon.
What's that?
Both your guys are dead.
Oh,
the Scorpion-
shit! I completely I
No, the
forgot that was
no,
reciprocal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Scorpion doesn't die.
No, it
the
does.
Scorpion-
Was flip summoned. The Scorpion's fine.
Oh yeah, it's normal summon or special summon. Okay.
But your tiger eats your turtle.
Whoops.
Yeah, that effect is reciprocal, sir.
Oh boy, I completely forgot about that one. Whoops.
Yep.
Oh well, let's go into your defense.
Can't die.
I hate that goddamn Reaper. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Fury Reaper's pretty good. You got another kill spell for me?
I do not. So I'm gonna be smart, switch that to defense, and pass the turn.
Alright, draw for turn. Stand by. You will take 13, I will take 8. Main.
Well, at least I'm still in the lead in terms of life point. Like you're gonna die before I do, so.
That is not necessarily the case.
Don't tell me you
If
got
you don't-
fucking reversal quiz.
With what's showing on the board, Demon is right, but I can't see your hands, obviously.
Well, you'll see. I'm just gonna pass.
Alright. That does not help me. I'm going to set a card and pass.
Sure. Draw for turn. Stand by. Stand by. You'll take 20. You'll take 21. I'll take 16. Main.
You will live next turn by 100 points.
Set a monster.
I mean, Rai can just stall this out into a draw if he wants to.
He could.
That's the other thing is like worst case, Dark Snake Syndrome will end the game in a draw if it's not dealt with.
Oh, that's actually hilarious. That's enough. That's gonna be enough. I'm gonna activate my Heavy Storm.
You did have the Heavy Storm set. Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to...
Yep.
Wait a minute.
The tiger's free at least.
Wait a minute. Shit. I can't actually do that. Fuck. I did not... Okay, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and fire off the Geki.
Sure.
Alright, so we're gonna flip.
So this is 2K?
2K.
Sure.
And then... set. And... set.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by, main. Vengeful,
Okay.
set. Go.
Draw. Standby main. Well. Better late than never.
Sure.
He's Raven.
Interesting that you're still on the rituals.
Trust me, I'll explain why in a little bit. But we're gonna flip... Oh, wait, shit. If I flip the Scorpion, it won't actually help me.
Nope.
Yep. That's a bug spear for you.
Yeah, you don't want to do that either.
I hate how it pulls up, like, directly above the buttons. Like, I like Dueling Book, but that is, like, the one thing I don't like about this whole setup. Alright. Let's go eat what I assume is a camel.
Nope. You're not gonna
Oh,
like it.
shit.
You're not gonna like that too much.
No, I am not. And even more so, that means Crab Turtle is almost completely useless now. Because...
That was your
Alright.
only oath?
Well, no, I have one more oath. That's the issue. I have one oath and one turtle in deck now, so... It's gonna be
Alright,
kind of
let's
trouble.
alright, let's play the game.
Alright.
Oh, you have one too. That's
There's-
one.
Okay, so that's one monster. There's two monster. That's not a... There's three monster. And
Okay.
four monster.
So the island turtle, the witch, and the 7-colored fish all get set.
Correct. I was really...
The spirit as well?
Nope.
No, because it
You
can't be it can't be special summoned outside of its own effect to start with.
Yeah, it's semi-nomi.
Oh. Yeah.
All right, main two.
Alright,
That's a
draw for
trouble.
turn. Stand by, main.
Now I'm actually kind of scared because if with Vengeful Blog you get at least one turn free next turn.
I do.
So
I do.
and giving Pac-Man time to set up is a bad idea.
Oh, yeah. Already gone through that. You've gone through 2 Book of Moon. What gets you out of this? Sorry, I need some time.
Okay.
I think I know what I'm going to do. I am going to prohibit Graceful Charity,
Oh.
and then I will pass the turn.
I kind of forgot you had Prohibition.
You had already played every card that I was scared of, so I was trying to figure out what the best thing to turn offline is.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. We'll flip the witch. Flip the fish. I'll set a card. And I'll activate ALO.
Yep. Draw for turn. Stand by, main.
The nice thing about ALO is the fact that this helps me deal with Gravity Bind, in a way.
Yeah. I will set a monster and pass.
Because now the fish gets under it.
You know the funny thing is, back when this stuff was new, I actually used to play Gravity Bind in that deck.
See, that's pretty fun. Like, that's a good combo. By the way, I'm gonna summon out my 8-claw Scorpion.
Sure.
He can't attack this turn, but that doesn't matter too much. Battle phase. Let's hit 2k into this guy.
Okay, it is my Moth. I'm gonna go ahead and get a mask.
Ooh.
Welp.
Okay. And, alright, which into your other one?
Sure, it's a Sandgan. I'm gonna get the thing that gets me out of this.
The Boom Jar.
The jar that says everything goes explode.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. Set a monster, could be anything.
Could be anything.
Then I'm going to set a back row that also could be anything. And go.
Ooh. That would have been nice.
Because you've already used both your Raigeki and your Heavy Storm. So I think I can stabilize this game. It's going to be difficult, but I think I can stabilize this game.
I don't like this.
I mean, you
but
gotta
let's do
trip
it.
it.
Yeah, we gotta set it off.
Yeah, you gotta trip it.
If I let you set it off on your turn, then that's just gonna make things even worse for me.
Yeah, because then it also just delays the monsters another turn.
So... Oh my god. Okay, so you have Knock, you have Ominous, Raigeki Break, Dust Shoot, and Prohibition again.
Okay. Yeah, that was the thing I was afraid of, is not hitting monsters. The problem is you have Imperial Order.
And your best buddy, the Crab Turtle, is back again.
Yup. Not too helpful, though.
Alright. Shuffle up. Well, if you want to do something about it, you're going to have to find it. I'm going to set 3 cards face down. And pass it to you.
It's a poor man's magical hats.
Yep. Okay. Draw for turn. Anything in standby?
Nothing in standby.
Okay, main. I'm gonna just force you to use this Imperial Order.
Alright.
Yeah. So then, I think...
You know what's the hilarious thing, too? Is that if I don't draw a monster next turn, these two actually... Well, okay, Cyberjar kind of ignores this anyway, but... Like, if somehow you were to flip Cyberjar up and not set it off, I'd still be short 100 points on killing you.
Yup.
Okay. So, this is a little bit risky, but I think I have to do it. Yeah, I think I have to do this. I am going to normal summon my Mask of Darkness.
Oh. Interesting.
I will go to the battle phase, and I will attack into the Cyberjar.
Yep.
Ooh.
Because Imperial Order negates Vengeful Bog Spirit.
It does. Oh god, do I really want to... Let me think real quick. God damn it, that doesn't... Nothing... Okay, so if I get Moth back, if I do something to stop this and let my Moth resolve later, there really isn't a whole lot that helps me in this instance, so... Okay. I'll let it go.
Yep. They explode. Wow.
Holy shit.
Whoa! That is a loaded... That is a loaded,
Jesus.
cyber.
That...
Jesus.
Okay, wait. Let me ask this real quick. Does Wangu's effect activate upon resolution here? Like, once these come out, does it go off?
That's a really good question.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go Google.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because...
I mean, you're already summoning and setting yours in defense anyway, but this makes a difference for... This will make a difference for my guys.
Yeah, because if you special anything that's not a King Tiger in attack position, then it's gonna die.
Exactly. That's why I want to know whether or not this is gonna happen now, or if it's not... Like, if them being summoned at the same time makes it not go off. Because
When King Tiger Wangu is special summoned by the effect of Cyberjar, other monsters with attack 1400 or less that are special summoned by the same Cyberjar are destroyed if they are special summoned.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so
you'll have to set all of those if you want to keep them around.
All right, so we're gonna summon 2 Tiger. We will set Exile Force. We will set Scorpion, and we're actually gonna summon out Sangan.
I was about to say,
yeah, to proc your Sangan, that makes sense.
Yeah, to get the Sangan proc.
Okay.
Because let's be realistic, there is no way in hell you're going to be popping my Sangan for me.
Exactly.
Okay. I guess I will add my Sinister Serpent to my hand, if nothing else, to kind of thin it.
Alright. Main phase 2. I am going to set...
Amusingly, we now see an example of a level 0 monster as soon as the Imperial Order is off the board.
I am going to set 2 back row. And then I am going to mask your King Tiger Wangu.
Okay. I mean, you can. It's still negated.
It's just negated.
Yeah, true, because it doesn't have the restriction like Jinzo to stop him from playing them.
Right.
Correct. I will pass the turn.
Alright, so I draw. Stand by. Do I want to pay the 700 life points? Because for those watching, this is pre-errata, so I have the choice. Actually, now that I think about it, this is the first time I actually get to use this card.
This is actually kind of a decision, I think.
It is.
Do you want to pay for Imperial?
I kind of want to, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, so main phase 1. So I'm going to gamble a bit here. I'm going to flip summon my Exile Force. I'm going to use Exile Force to pop your monster.
It's a witch.
Okay.
Witch, it's the witch you knew about.
Right.
Witch is going to get... I'll get Spirit Reaper.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to be taking a 50-50 on this. I am activating Raigeki Break. Pitching my Sinister Serpent.
1 second. Ra, you have a bunch of cards in your that you haven't picked up.
Oh,
wow.
True. Oh, crap.
Right.
I just realized that.
Right. I have to discard the hand size.
See, well, there's our first hold up right there.
It's going to happen eventually.
Especially because, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. His life is low enough that maybe Solemn Judgment might not be the best idea. But at the same time, that might have made an impact for what he played face down.
No, okay. I don't think so. I don't think that actually changed anything.
Okay. So you tossed out... Okay.
Yeah, dust shoots aren't going to be very good.
Yeah. Okay, so I pitch for cost. Any response? Or, well, let me actually target first before I ask.
Yeah, I need a target first. What are you targeting?
We're targeting that one.
Sure.
Fortune telling. Okay. Huh.
This
is the tough part.
Start of your... I actually don't think... I actually think you got this one. I just want to make sure there's nothing I can do.
I was gonna say the thing that scares me is I remember you have Mirror Force. That's why I was like I have to take the gamble on which one I'm flipping here, cause
Thinking. No, nothing I can do, unfortunately. This was a Raigeki break. What I wanted to do was I wanted to Raigeki break your Imperial Order at the start of combat. I just needed my monster to survive.
Fair. That actually, yeah, that would have messed me up a little bit too, so... I had a couple of cards here, but nothing that was going to be massive.
So you had something to take care of the Spirit Reaper anyway. The only super crazy thing I got out of Pharaonic Guardian was the ring.
Let's see. Let me scroll through real
quick. The ring you already saw.
Yeah. I actually got a couple of cool cards. I hit a Gravekeeper's Chief, which was actually kind of neat. No Necro Valley though, so I can't really build that deck.
No, I didn't get Necro Valley either.
Now, there is one other thing I want to show real quick though, because I feel like this gets limited pretty soon anyway.
Oh, you got 2 Ring of Destruction?
Yeah, once again, fucking min-max kicked in pretty nicely. The only difference is this time I actually got a couple of supers in the process, so that's nice.
I think Ring of Destruction actually gets limited on the very next list.
I think so.
I
gotta say, this actually worked out a lot better than I thought it would at first. And in fact, because I was actually... I put this in the side deck to start with, and I hadn't even thought about it at work today. I was like, maybe I should just take that out entirely, because it might work once, and then you could just, like, summon Lakuta, eat it, and then flip Lakuta back over. But I'm kind of glad to see that actually worked out.
It did. The first game, I just could not find like a real win condition after I forced you to use the Heavy Storm, and then after boards, just Imperial Order crushes this deck. It's more the combination of Imperial... The funny thing is, when I saw you were on Legendary Ocean, I actually boarded Gravity Bind out.
I figured as much, because that's the thing. Between 7-color Fish, Island Turtle, if needed, for a quick attacker, and Aqua Spirit, they just work really well to get under Gravity Bind and kind of do what they need to do.
The thing I was super happy about with Pharaonic Guardian is I opened 3 Spirit Reapers.
See, that's a pretty good...
God, you got all 3.
That's pretty good. That explains where mine went. I didn't pull a single one.
Well, in any case... you got some thinking to do now, so how about we head over to the Hall of Eternity to decide which cards we shall be removing from the format.
Alright. Alright, so that's another win in the books, and that means 2 more wildcard spins for us. Now granted, I would probably consider a tournament pack or something along those lines, but from what I remember, the current tournament packs are kind of crap, so we're going to stick to the wildcards. We can still go as far back as Legend of Blue Eyes, however, the next set will be the last set that we have Legend of Blue Eyes available to us. So hopefully we can hit some key cards there. Honestly, if I can hit an ultra rare wild card, that would be very nice, because then I could get a Monster Reborn, and I feel like that's going to be a really good card to have later on. So let's spin the first time with the wheel and see what we hit. Okay, no bullshit. I did not. I'm dead serious. I did not rig that. I did not rig that to be an ultra rare. So you know what? That is even better. That's honestly good, because that solves our issue right there. So yeah, unsurprisingly for the ultra rare wildcard, we are going with a copy of Monster Reborn. This card is one of the most powerful cards from the original set, and quite frankly, Rai is going to lose his... Rai's probably going to be surprised to see this now, but I would not be surprised in the least if this ends up a future ban, so... But for right now, we're going to take this and be happy. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and spin our second... Take our second spin and see what we hit. Ooh, a rare wild card. Okay. That one might actually take a little bit of time to figure out. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so for our rare wild card, we're actually going to opt for a third copy of Book of Moon. Now, the reason for this is because we already have 2, and I know this card is going to get limited soon-ish. However, until it does,